Good day, everyone. Meteorologist Mark Molnar here. Great to have you here for this edition of MeteoMark's Weather Wintry Edition. We'll also take a look at the tropics. In the meantime, ongoing snowstorm here across the north country of New England into southeast Canada. We'll take a look at all the snowfall amounts from Sunday into Monday here. And is this Ohio Valley Appalachian system still going to materialize? I don't know. It's looking weaker and weaker by each model run. It looks a little bit moisture starved and more like an elevation event. As you can see on the European model, this is by about December 9th and 10th. A big system ejecting out of the mid-Mississippi River Valley, spreading a big area of low pressure, developing, bombing in the eastern Great Lakes. And you know, on the northwest side of these storms, we generally see that big area of heavy snowfall. Will this actually materialize? We'll get into all the details here. Along with your tropics, we could be looking at a tropical wave from the central Atlantic here. Take a look at that as we head throughout the week here. This will actually likely spread towards the Lesser Antilles as we get towards December 7th and 8th here. And will this spread across the entire Caribbean as we head throughout the next weekend, spreading a big heavy rain event from Jamaica, Cayman Islands into Central America as we head towards December 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th here. Let's get into it. So starting off with the European model here for North America, U.S., Canadian winter storm outlook. So there's that low winding up across the northeast. That's where we're going to continue to see that heavy snow in southeast Canada, northern New York, and New England here. So continue to watch for that for your Sunday. What is going on out here for the rest of your forecast? Well, it does look like a pretty quiet week. We do have that weak system that pushes from the Midwest, Ohio Valley, southward here. So we may see an inch or two, closer to 3 to 5 inches here in the mountains of West Virginia as we head Tuesday into Wednesday. Most of Ohio staying a half an inch or less of slushy accumulation. That quickly moves, the energy is absorbed by this coastal low out to sea. Look at this high pressure across North America. The only inclement weather here is the Pacific Northwest and Western Canada. That pushes a low further north here towards December 8th. You see that high pressure retreating off the U.S. East Coast. That sets us up for a storm developing here. This is December 9th. This is that storm I was telling you about, a few days ago that might actually head right up the Ohio Valley and spread a swath of heavy snow from the Ohio Valley into parts of southern Ontario and Quebec. So this looks like a pretty strong system. This is a system we'll have to keep an eye on. I'll show you the GFS momentarily here with some precipitation depiction. Look at that, 970 millibars right over Montreal by December 11th. So just on the northwest corridor of this system, there will likely be a band of heavy snow setting up. And this is only like 7 to 8 days out. A lot can change, but it is interesting. I'll show you here on the GFS. It is showing something similar. And here's the GFS, flipping over to it. Here's that northern New England snowstorm, southeast Canada, as we head throughout the rest of your Sunday night, and Monday. Look at that pulling up here into the northeast. I know the major population centers will be missing out on this. I heard some of your frustration in the comments down below, but here it is as we head towards December 5th. Yeah, 1 p.m., this is Tuesday. Yeah, there is still a burst of heavier wet snow here across southern Michigan showing up on the GFS model and parts of northern and central Ohio. However, some of you in Pittsburgh have even said, is it really going to snow? It looks like initially it will, but it's going to be such a wet snow that ground temperatures are not going to be that conducive for accumulation. So this isn't looking like anything to write home about. I still think some of you in the higher elevations could see a slushy couple of inches here, especially into West Virginia and the Appalachians here. But look at how quickly it can solidifies here over the Appalachians as we head towards 7 a.m. on December 6th. So yeah, snowfall all the way down to the Smoky Mountains here, maybe a couple inches, upwards of 5 to 7 inches here into the mountains of West Virginia. But most other areas will be wet snow mixing with rain or changing over to wet snow and rain here. So we're not looking like a widespread blockbuster winter storm here. Now, as we head towards December 10th here. All right, so going back here, the 0Z and 6Z GFS were showing a snowstorm potential across the Ohio Valley December 10th and 11th. Look how much more progressive this model run has. So I think the daytime model runs are showing that this system is going to be marginal for a snowstorm here across parts of the Ohio Valley into southeastern Canada. right around December 10th and 11th, whereas the overnight model runs, especially the 0Z model runs, are showing that really strong snowstorm. Now, one thing to note behind all this, you still get a big lake effect snow response here. Look at this. This is a massive widespread lake effect snow outbreak. So regardless of whether this materializes into, a major winter storm for these areas, it looks like lake effect is going to be a thing behind this low pressure system. So heading back to the 6Z run on the GFS right around September 10th here it is. It was showing a little bit further to the west here. It's interesting to see model run to model run. There's going to be a lot of flip-flopping back and forth. Even this model run was showing some heavy snow breaking out December 10th across the Ohio Valley, western New York, and western Pennsylvania. Now, let's take a look at the 0Z. So the 0Zs have been going crazy with this potential Ohio Valley Great Lake snowstorm here. And as we put this into motion, here it is for right around December 10th. There's a big low pressure right near Buffalo, New York, with heavy snow from the Appalachians, eastern Ohio, all the way up into southeast Canada. So this is a trend we'll still have to watch. We're going to watch these models flip-flop back and forth, but it looks like we'll have a strong area of low pressure somewhere in this vicinity. So if we take a look at your snowfall here, look at that across. There it is, Sunday evening into Sunday night there across parts of Wisconsin, northern Michigan. You could get upwards of 2 to 4 inches, but look at there. I know some of you in New England are getting mist, but look at the mountains there and then heading up into Maine and northern New York, St. Lawrence Valley, northern Adirondacks. That's a pretty significant snowstorm up there. We head throughout the rest of the week. It doesn't look that much. And you know what? That snow we were originally going to see across the Ohio Valley into the Appalachians, there will be a little bit, but you can see it's not really showing up too much here anymore. Now, if you want to go out just a little bit on the Euro, I know it's not very great to look out beyond 150 hours, especially in the wintertime here, but look at that. That is showing right around Saturday, December 10th. I should say Sunday, December 10th into Monday, December 11th there. Look at that. That looks like a snowstorm that heads right up the Ohio Valley, brings a swath of snowfall well up into parts of eastern Canada as well. All right, so heading up to the northeast here, there is that snowstorm across northern New England, southeast Canada. Look at the bullseye, though, right over the border into parts of southern Quebec, upwards of a foot, just a little bit above a foot there. Looking like 5 to 8 inch event here across the northern Adirondacks, parts of the St. Lawrence up there, into the White and Green Mountains, and then spreading way up here into Maine. Coastal areas, though, look like a lot less here, so there's going to be a sharp cutoff. It's going to be very elevation dependent, though, too. Now, as we head through Tuesday into Wednesday, look at there. There it is. Is this all we're going to amount to with that potential Ohio Valley and Appalachian system here? Yeah, that's what we're looking at here. It's not much now. It's very moisture starved, maybe 1/4 to 1/2 inch of snow. And then the mountains here of West Virginia, maybe getting upwards of 3, 4, maybe 5 inches of snow. So it's not looking like a snowstorm by any stretch of the imagination now. And next weekend, behind that, there's that system right around December 10th and 11th. That could be quite interesting. There's going to be a lot of flip-flopping back and forth, though, until then. And here's our snowfall amounts here across northern New England, mainly those higher elevations. GFS is bringing this a little bit farther to the south with each model run here, the 12Z showing these heavier accumulations just a tad to the south. Still, the coastal areas look to be almost next to nothing, but wet snow will begin to mix in here. Look at here across southeast Canada, southern Quebec, upwards of 1 foot or more. The White Green Mountains, parts of the northern and eastern Adirondacks, upwards of 6 to 8 inches potentially here. And look at much of Maine, especially interior Maine, upwards close to 8 to 10 inches. Now, here in the Ohio Valley, there's that system. You know, you have a little bit of lake enhancement initially here, Tuesday into Wednesday, but look at that. Yeah, it's going to be a slushy, maybe up to 1 inch here showing up on the GFS. Mainly initially changing over, mixing with wet snowflakes, rainfall, and then switching over to mostly rainfall. It's those areas above the 2,000 feet level that stand the chance of seeing more, closer to 2, 3, and then especially here in eastern West Virginia, upwards of 4 to 6 inches. And as you can see here on the GFS, if we look at snowfall amounts here on our latest 12Z, yeah, toning down just a little bit. You can see most of northern Ohio, northeastern Indiana, southern Michigan here, generally about an inch or so. It's mostly slushy, wet, won't accumulate to too much, especially on the pavement. But here it is across the Appalachians all the way down to the Smoky Mountains. I think in these areas above 2,000 feet, you could see 2 to as much as 4 inches, locally higher here across eastern mountains of West Virginia, upwards of 6 inches potentially. Your HRRR future radar as we head throughout the rest of Sunday evening, Sunday night. Look at the snowstorm here across parts of northern Michigan, Wisconsin, and then you spread into southeast Canada, Ontario, Quebec, the White and Green Mountains here, Adirondacks, parts of the St. Lawrence Valley, most of Maine except for coastal areas, although it's looks like here on the HRRR, even changing to snow here along the coastal areas, but you'll be much more into the advisory and warning criteria amounts further inland here. So as we head throughout, look at the lake response behind it here, quickly pushing in just northeast of Cleveland here as we head throughout 11 a.m. on Monday, December 4th. Look at this, snow still breaking out here across the North Country but look what's happening here. Essentially, you get the northwest winds kicking in. Look at the lake effect bands. It is marginal, so it's mainly the higher terrain inland that will see those heavier accumulations, but we're not looking at too tremendously much, although some of these bands organizing off Lake Ontario towards December 5th look a bit more interesting. Now, look, this is our system. This is the last frame, 7 a.m. on Tuesday morning. Look at this. This is actually a system breaking out across the Ohio Valley. That's that system I was talking to you about. HRRR showing some wet snow spreading across parts of the Midwest and Ohio Valley. So yeah, it's not going to be like massive advisory criteria everywhere, but some areas, especially the higher elevations, could see slushy inch or two. And then as we head towards the Appalachians, particularly above that 2,000 foot range, that's where we'll see the heavier, close to 5 to 7 inches of snowfall. Now, as we head into the rest of the country here, Pacific Northwest, Intermountain West, that's where you'll see all the snowfall here. Look at across the southeast, with the exception for this little area of low pressure that's heading across, the Mississippi, Ohio River valleys here, closer to Monday and Tuesday. This is not looking like too much here. There's that next system as it spreads. You see the two pieces of energy, though. This one diving southeastward, this one across. If these two were to merge, it would be a stronger system, but it looks like this energy is going to outpace our Midwest energy, so you're not going to get that energizing that was showing a couple days ago. But look at the Pacific Northwest. It's just a parade of one storm after another heading into the Pacific Northwest here. So we take a look at the European model here for your tropical update. I definitely don't want to leave you guys out here, down here into the Caribbean, Gulf of Mexico, and the Atlantic. As we continue going time, look how quiet things are. It's your dry season. Things are looking nice. We do have a tropical wave out here by December 4th. This is the one I've been talking about for the longest time. I think this is going to slide just to the south into North America, but just to verify that, let's continue to put the European model into motion, and I'll show you the GFS momentarily. Well, there it is. There's a lot of wind shear this time of year. Does it even make it to the Lesser Antilles? Well, you could get some rainfall here in the southern and mid-Lesser Antilles here down at Trinidad and Tobago by December 7th. So it's still looking like the forecast is favoring rain. And look at that, by December 8th, you could be getting some heavy rainfall, but by this point, it does make it into the Eastern Caribbean. So beyond 150 hours here as we head towards December 10th, could this make it as far west as Jamaica? Well, it looks like it's going to combine forces with a frontal boundary. Look at this frontal boundary along the U.S. East Coast. Looks like a pretty strong front. Look at this moisture across Central America. And as we head to the Northern Caribbean and Southern Gulf here, let's just put this into motion. They kind of converge on each other by December 11th. So Jamaica, yeah, you could be seeing some heavy rainfall here by December 10th and 11th, and then progressing towards Belize and Central America, Honduras, these areas. Look at the resort towns here. This almost looks like a tropical wave here by December 12th, so it's something we'll have to keep an eye on. Don't expect any development, but this is a massive surge of moisture, especially this time of year. You don't see this sort of thing. So showing the GFS here for your tropical update here. Let's go through and see what's happening here for the tropical wave. As you can see, it's mostly quiet, just like the European model, the first several days here. There's what the GFS is showing, much further to the north track. December 7th. So this is quite a big difference here, GFS versus Euro. Look how far north this tropical wave goes. It looks like it's being pulled further north by the GFS, indicating the system across the Western Atlantic moving much quicker on the GFS than the European model. And look at that. That pretty much shows you there is a major difference here between the GFS and the European model. Now look at as we head towards December 11th, we're still showing that frontal boundary, showing a big smattering of showers and thunderstorm activity from Central America, even the Southern Gulf here. So that part hasn't changed. That's pretty similar here to the European model. Now look what happens here. This is further to the north. It's showing this stalled frontal boundary is showing a big area of low pressure here. Could this have implications for South Texas and the Gulf Coast? Heavy rain, some beneficial rain moving up here. That looks like to be a possibility here on the GFS as we head towards December 13th. That feeding into a big storm here across North America. So that is kind of interesting. Look at that. That almost looks subtropical in nature. Not to say that's going to happen because the water temperatures have cooled off quite a bit across the Gulf, but that is quite interesting there to get that kind of system. Although we do have a lot of low pressure systems that will be forming in the Gulf of Mexico because of El Nino, the jet stream that far south. And liquid equivalent precipitation, you hope it's liquid equivalent here into the Caribbean. It always will be. No snow down here. But look at this. Even Central America, a lack of precipitation, 25 to 40 millimeters. Southern Belize here could get upwards of close to 90 to 100 millimeters with some tropical moisture, upwards of 3 to 4 inches. Even here into parts of the Cayman Islands, Jamaica, you don't start to get a few showers until next Wednesday here, but it's not going to amount to much, 4 to 10 millimeters, less than a quarter inch here. Look at the Cayman Islands, pretty much void of moisture. So is Haiti and Dominican Republic here. And as we head to the Bahamas, the Eastern Caribbean here, look at this. So as we get through Tuesday into Wednesday, we get a little bit of rain from Trinidad, Tobago, all the way up to the Virgin Islands, all through the Lesser Antilles. Not too much, though. Maybe upwards of 13 to 26 millimeters here. That's not going to amount to much, half to 3/4 inches. Even the Bahamas, pretty dry here. Look at this. Most of this moisture falling, say, Tuesday night here. But 4 millimeters, that is not a whole lot here. So as we take a look at total liquid equivalent precipitation here, if we go just through the end here using the European model, look at this. Yeah, the Northeast there getting some rainfall continuing Sunday night and Monday. Additional rainfall amounts of up to an inch there across West Pennsylvania into northern New York there and northern New England where the snowstorm will be occurring. Look at the Pacific Northwest though. This is where we're getting on the order of up to 8 inches of liquid equivalent. So heading on into the Northeast here, most of this falling, as you can see, Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon, and then additional amounts, early Monday morning here. We'll throw another 1/4 to a half an inch on top of all this. A lot of this up here in northern New England, falling, if I can get my pencil here, falling as snow here. So a lot of this up here, especially the higher elevations, will be snowfall. Now, as you can see across the Ohio Valley here, there it is. That system that was forecast to happen, Monday night, Tuesday, and Wednesday, it looks, with each model run, it's looking less and less. We do add a 1/10 to a 1/4 inch on top that, but we'll see here. So we take a look at the medium range CFS climate model here. You can see that trough moving through the east here. There is blocking trying to solidify here over Greenland, but it's having little success. But you can see this is a very fast-moving pattern as we head through December 9th here. Look at next weekend. Again, more ridging across the east. This is not very conducive for winter storms. We do have a trough that sets up around December 13th here, but look how quickly it moves out, quickly being replaced by a ridge. And then another trough by Saturday, December 16th, another ridge. You get the idea here. This is a flip-flop pattern, but unfortunately for you snow lovers, this is not very conducive as we head through mid-December. I hate to say this. Is this starting to sound maybe a little bit like last winter? It's just, I don't know. But, winter hasn't even truly begun yet, so it's too soon to jump the gun. I know these patterns get stuck the way they are, but look at this. As we head through the end of the month here, there is a lot of ridging back east here. One thing to note, though, you can get a snowstorm between all these troughs and ridges because it is a fast-moving pattern. You're not going to get a blockbuster system, but it is a fast-moving pattern. Look at this, January 4th. way too far out to read into this, but you get these troughs, that lift up across the East Coast, and you could get the potential that one of these could materialize into a winter storm. And don't go anywhere. I have plenty more weather in just a moment, but check out my affiliate here. Here are some awesome maps.
I am proud to announce that I am now an affiliate with Trilogy Maps. TrilogyMaps.com, bringing you the most digital, customizable maps found nowhere else on the internet. These maps are simply stunning. It's an advanced layering system that makes these maps great for making forecast maps with ease, or any other maps that you would like to display important information on. The resolution on these maps is simply amazing. From the detail of everything here in the States, and you can also create stunning, digital, professional layered maps from also across the entire world. And don't forget, in checkout, the discount code option, use my code, MeteoMark, hit apply, and you will get 20% off your order. So if you want the most professional, customizable, and affordable weather maps found nowhere else on the internet, look no further than TrilogyMaps.com. Link in the description down below along with your discount code.
So if we take a look at the temperature profile here, look at this. So there is not very much cold air. It's mainly the Midwest and northern New England as we continue with that extreme northern New England snowstorm here. As we head on into Tuesday, you can see we get a little bit of a reinforcing shot, but really for this time of year, you can really see the El Nino pattern here. It's a little bit warmer than average here as we head into Wednesday as well. Look at this, though. We do get kind of a backdoor cold front here. Look at this, 20s for northern New England. That's where the snowpack's going to be. Look at the plains, though. This is well above average, and with an El Nino window, that is very typical here. As we head into Thursday, the only cold air is Pacific Northwest and northern New England and northern New York here, stuck in the 30s. And as we head throughout Friday here, look at Texas. Most areas 70 or above here. But look at here. We're void of most cold air outbreaks here. So you just know there's not going to be, with the exception for the Rocky Mountains, the Cascades here, it's just not going to be that conducive for any winter storms going through the end of the forecast period here. Extended outlook from our hometown viewers, Binghamton to Scranton, Susquehanna, River Valley, New York, and Pennsylvania. Take a look at this. It's going to be mostly cloudy through the entire Monday through Friday forecast period here. We're looking at a chance of showers on Monday, a chance of snow showers on Tuesday and Thursday. Very little accumulation, though. There's not any winter storms expected here. We'll look at starting off in the mid-40s, dropping down to the mid-30s by midweek, and then bouncing back up to 45. So there is no large-scale systems for the entire week. Overall, a very quiet week. Thanks for joining me for this edition of MeteoMark's Weather. Don't forget, my winter 2023-24 outlook is in a link in the description down below, also appearing right in front of you on the screen as well. So check that out. Facebook, MeteoMark, Twitter, @WeatherEastern, also Facebook, Weather Northeastern, and Hurricane Northeastern. Thanks for joining me. And don't forget, check out my affiliate link at Trilogy Maps below.